Hey everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. You've probably heard the term Ling Luo Zhou Duan, those fancy silks from ancient China. But they're way more than just fabric for clothes. They represent technology, art, social status, and deep culture. Today, let's dive into the story of these legendary silks. Legend says it all started over 5,000 years ago. Li Su, the wife of the Yellow Emperor, discovered that silkworms spun threads that could be woven into cloth. That kicked off China's incredible silk-making tradition. And this isn't just a myth. Archaeologists digging at Qintai village in Henan province found fragments of a pale, reddish luo fabric dating back 5,600 years. Imagine that. People way back then were already weaving silk with tiny holes for breathability. This clever use of the silkworm's fine, strong thread, twisted and woven in different ways, became the foundation for Ling, Luo, Zhou, and Duan. So what exactly are Ling, Luo, Zhou, Duan? Well, there are actually 4 top-tier types of silk fabric. First up, Ling. Its signature features those clear diagonal lines on the surface, like little streams running down a mountainside or cracks in ice. This diagonal weave creates subtle hidden patterns, giving it a quiet kind of luxury. The Tang dynasty was Ling's golden age. The great poet Bai Zhui even wrote a whole poem, Liao Ling, praising a top-quality Ling from Yuzhou. He said it was like a 45-foot waterfall under the moonlight on Tiantai Mountain, pure beauty. Even better, as he put it, strange colors and patterns hide and appear. Turn it, and the flowers seem to shift and disappear. Depending on the light and your angle, the designs play hide and seek. Naturally, this stuff was crazy expensive. Why? It was incredibly hard to make. Records from the Western Jin dynasty say weaving just one bolt of top-grade scattered flowers, Ling needle loom with 120 precision parts, and took a full 60 days. One bolt cost 10,000 coins. That's like paying for over 10,000 pounds of rice today. So in the Tang dynasty, Ling was mainly for officials' robes, a mark of rank. Sadly, Ling had a grim use in the imperial court too. Because it was so strong, it was often used for executions, like the white silk used by the tragic beauty Yang Fei to end her life. Later, during the Ming and Qing dynasties, Ling faded from clothing but became vital for mounting paintings and calligraphy scrolls, especially the Hu Ling made in Shuanglan town Huzhu. Why? It was thin, smooth, and shrank at almost the same rate as the paper it mounted, keeping artworks perfectly flat. Next, Luo. Its magic trick is the twisted warp weave. Picture the vertical threads twisted together like braiding hair, then woven with the horizontal threads. This creates tiny, irregular holes. Ancient people said they looked like peppercorns. These holes made Luo incredibly light and breathable, the absolute lifesaver for hot ancient summers. The ultimate proof, that famous plain gauze gown unearthed from the Moangduehan tomb in Changsha. The whole robe weighs just 49 grams, lighter than an egg. How thin was it? Folded 10 times over a newspaper, you could supposedly still read the print underneath. Truly lifted, and it feels like nothing, truly like mist. In the Song dynasty, there was an even lighter version called Qingguan Luo. Its name basically means light enough to hold air. Weaving luo, especially the early complex types, like 4, warp-twisted luo, required serious skill, making it pricey. Only nobles and scholars who dreaded the heat could afford it. Poets like Du Fu and Lu Yuxi raved about Yue Luo silk. Song dynasty noblewomen loved luo for their skirts, stylish and cool. Regular folks might occasionally wear coarser versions in summer. Luckily, the skill didn't die out. In Hangzhou today, you can find hangluo. It's a simpler, horizontal luo with holes lined up in rows. Best part, in 2009, its weaving technique was added to UNESCO's World Intangible Cultural Heritage list. You can still hear the creak of traditional wooden looms, weaving this 1,000-year-old coolness in old Hangzhou workshops. Now, for Zhou, its basic weave is called plain weave. Warp and weft threads simply go over and under each other, nice and tight. This makes Zhou smooth, fine, crisp, and sturdy. The ultimate workhorse of silks. Originally written as Chou in the Western Han dynasty, its fame grew so big that Zhou eventually became the general word for all silks. Zhou was the most accessible of the 4. The plain weave was simpler, and it was produced in larger quantities. Especially tussar Zhou made from wild tussar silkworm silk, rougher, with a unique character, it was a cheaper silk that common folk could actually afford. In the Qing dynasty, an ordinary bolt of tossazhou cost about 0.5 taels of silver, around 300 RMB today, or the price of 40 pounds of pork. Of course, there was high-end zhou too. Palace zhou for emperors and nobles used the finest materials and workmanship. The middle class, like the shrewd Wang Zufeng and Dream of the Red Chamber, favored crepe zhou, with its naturally crinkled surface, often used as lining for fur coats. Zhou was also crucial for art, that famous northern song painting 1,000 li of rivers and mountains, painted on silk gauze. Qing dynasty books like Casual Notes with Leisure Feelings even mention sewing double-layered zhou into ice bags, stuff them with ice, wrap them in cotton, and you've got an ancient fridge for summer fruits. Finally, Duan. This was the latecomer, only appearing in the Song dynasty, initially just for shoe trims. But wow, did it make an entrance! Its superpower is the satin weave. This technique lets either the warp or weft threads float long distances on the surface with very few binding points. Ultimate smoothness. Ultimate shine. It feels like melted gold and looks like sunlight reflecting off a still lake. Pure luxury. Duan really took off after the Yuan dynasty and reached its peak during the Ming and Qing, completely dethroning Ling as the top dog. The king of Duan, Zhuanhua Duan, made with a crazy complex digging shuttle technique. Tiny shuttles weave different colored threads into the pattern, like embroidery. A top-quality Zhuanhua Duan robe for an emperor in the Ming dynasty took 92 man-days of labor. It cost hundreds of taels of silver, about 200,000 RMB today. An ordinary farmer would need to save every penny for a decade to afford one bolt. Why so expensive? Beyond the unmatched shine, the process was insanely complex, and the patterns were incredibly rich and ornate, loved by the elite. So Duan was almost exclusively for the imperial family and top nobles. Ming and Qing emperors' dragon robes and empresses' phoenix gowns were mostly made of high-grade Duan, like Nanjing's Yunjin or Guangdong's Yangwei Duan. Qing dynasty rules were strict. Only princes could wear the white python robe with the 5-clawed dragon. Commoners? No chance. Today, Nanjing's Yunjin brocade weaving technique joined Hangluo as UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2009. So why were these silks, especially Ling Luo and top grey Duan brocades, so insanely expensive, like soft gold? Precious raw materials. Top silk used only the long filaments from domesticated silkworms, raising the worms, collecting cocoons, reeling the thread. Every step demanded huge amounts of painstaking labor. Producing just 1 pound of raw silk needed about 3,000 cocoons. Women boiling cocoons and reeling thread worked 14-hour days. The labor cost was enormous. Mind-boggling craftsmanship. From Ling looms needing 120 precision parts, to Luo's twisting mechanisms, to Zhuanghua Duan's shuttle digging technique, each required highly skilled artisans trained for years. Output was painfully slow. Top pieces took days, even months, for just one bolt. That excavated Duan dragon robe for Emperor Wanli, 12 artisans, 10 hours a day, for 5 years to finish. That cost burned through a whole county's annual tax revenue. Luxury and status symbols. Ancient China had strict social hierarchies. Laws dictated what fabrics and patterns different ranks could wear. The Thames Legal Code, Thames Leo Dion, stated only officials of the 5th rank and above could wear Ling. Commoners caught in Luo or Ling got 50 strokes of the cane. Ming rules reserved gold, embroidered python patterns for princes, and forbade Duan for officials below the 8th rank. So these silks screamed power and wealth, the most prestigious gift an emperor could give. Often, silk, hard currency. Silk wasn't just for wearing, it was money. You paid taxes with it, traded internationally, and gave it 4 major rewards. Top-quality silk truly was worth its weight in gold. Sogdian traders buying silk in China and selling it in Persia could mark it up 10 times. By the time it reached a Roman noble, the price equaled its weight in gold, around 2 million RMB. So how come something thousands of years old is still so popular? Well, if it hasn't been replaced after all this time, it must be good. The main reason is pure comfort. Silk from the mulberry silkworm is a natural protein filament with a unique triangular cross-section. This gives it that beautiful pearl-like sheen and an amazing feel against the skin. It breathes, absorbs moisture, keeps you cool in summer and warm in winter. Even the best synthetic fibers can't fully copy this natural, living softness and breathability. Wearing pure mulberry silk feels like a second skin. That's why many people swear by silk pillowcases and sheets too. They can help reduce wrinkles. One seal getting lots of buzz lately is shengunjia. It's fantastic for kipos. This is a type of liang dyed with the juice of the Dioscorea serosa plant and mud fermented. It needs sun, drying about 30 times. It literally weaves wind, water, earth, and sun into the cloth. Proof of ancient eco-friendly thinking. Environmentalists love it as a sustainable fashion holy grail, zero chemicals, completely biodegradable, and reducing carbon footprint by 92% compared to synthetics. If you're looking for a jacket, Song brocade is another great choice. Originating in the Song dynasty and mainly produced in Suzhou, it's one of China's 3 great brocades alongside Yunjin and Shujin. It gained huge modern attention thanks to celebrities like Yang Mi frequently wearing it. In 2023, she wore a pink and green Song brocade jacket with jade jewelry to her birthday event, sparking over 100 million social media views and bringing Song brocade firmly back into the spotlight. For many people today, Song brocade is still the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about new Chinese-style jackets. When we feel the smoothness of a silk shirt or marvel at an emperor's dragon robe in a museum, we're touching the pulse of Chinese civilization, 5,000 years of enduring life and vast inclusiveness. This glory woven from threads, the charm of this soft gold, will undoubtedly keep shining brightly into the future. I am Amber. Catch you next time.